Right. So 8th April, we've fucked it trying to do a monthly podcast.
Sorry.
No, it's my fault. As someone who can't eat dairy, I decided I'm going to eat a lot of cheese. And by a lot of cheese, I mean like a wee bit of cheese, but
It's enough.
it's enough.
It's enough
Yeah,
to
it turns
fill it,
out
yeah.
when you can eat something, it doesn't. I've not had it for a few months. Maybe I can eat it now. Like I've built up a backlog of tolerance. That doesn't work.
No.
So I was a poorly boy the next day, so I couldn't record. And then you were at a wedding,
I was.
and you did what to do it live for the wedding. No, you did what to do it the day after.
Life for the ceremony.
Live for the ceremony, the day after. But our partner's bad enough with you being hungover as well. So
Yes. Yeah, we'll save you a wee day there.
we saved you a day. So this is TurboDunters at TurboDunters on
On the old Twitters.
Twitter, soundcloud.com/TurboDunters.
Official now.
Official. We're not a random number anymore.
Yeah, we're
in
on
the system.
soundcloud.com/412 written out in letters. XYZ. That's really lucky actually to get the sequential XYZ.
Aye, that's pretty good. And it's nearly 4:20. Kinda, but no really.
Bit fair. I mean, I wish there was an equivalent 420 for Eckies. Will we make it?
4:12.
412.
Aye, that's Eckies. And then 13 and
Wait, what's
19 is
that?
just random other drugs. It's just because you said 412 XYZ, that's it.
That's true actually.
Remember what you said 3 seconds?
I'm enjoying 420, didn't it? No.
There's evidence to suggest otherwise. Right, anyway, so Stephen McLaren,
I'm Derek Goldie.
and this month we don't actually have a guest.
I know, we're on by, we're lonesome.
We're actually...
We have
We're
to
running
talk-
out of patter. Well, we ran out of patter after episode 2.
out of
Christmas
pals
kind
as
of...
well.
Yeah, ran out. We took it as we don't want to run out of pals because there's not that many.
There's like 3.
I'm just going to say now we're probably not going to get Jesse the Body Ventura on. I think
I've
that
tried my hardest. I've sent so many emails. So many, man.
Tom DeLong as well. He's away with Mulder.
He's unobtainable.
Mulder and Scully just now looking for something, and Jean-Claude Van Damme is, I don't know.
He's just rampaging in Brussels.
He's just enjoying some
Cutting
Brussels
about.
sprouts.
And that's not like a a topical thing to say about the current times. A wee joke.
We've got some housekeeping just before we go on here. Me and Jameson, the last episode, were talking about Gardner Street and wanting to go down the hill on a skateboard for the ill-fated Living La Vida Loca idea we had. Last month or the month before, when we had loads of snow, I can't remember when it was. After the last podcast, anyway, there was a load of snow.
Aye.
And some cunt went down Gardner Street in a snowboard. So he must have listened.
Yeah, he must. Yeah, that's reach. We're inspiring the youth.
One of the 20 listeners
I think I've seen the video of that as well.
I mean, what a dick.
That was-
What a dick. I bet he didn't even record it for Living La Vida Loca. I bet he just done it
but
because
he just did it because he wanted to have fun.
Aye, what a dick.
Fuck's sake.
Bet he didn't even get killed at the bottom of the street by going into Dumbarton Road and run over.
Like you're supposed to.
Aye, like you're supposed to. That's the comedy. Death.
That's why he's good.
Bet he didn't even eat a burger injected with AIDS.
Please refer to the previous episode.
The previous
For context
episode will... In fact, see if you're just listening to this episode, why have you not listened to the
I
last
know.
one?
Like, don't start at episode 4.
Aye.
That's
Right, so this is the probably the last podcast we're going to do before I turn 33 on the 26th of April. So get your presents in to TurboDunters P.O. Box. No, we don't have one, but
no.
So I've been thinking about it, getting old,
Really?
life's passing me by. Got me a wee bit down. No, I feel
Really?
a bit sad about it. No, not really. It's just I wanted to call this episode Down in the Dunts, so I had to put some perspective in it.
We'll get you out of that.
We'll get out of this rut. Yeah, so this is Down in the Dunts, episode 4, and we'll leave this bit for our banging tune.
That'll become something.
Is that how it goes? I can't even remember.
No, I don't listen to it recreationally at all. It's literally just, I mean, I don't think we've ever even spoken about that like getting that song. We just kind of needed a tune, and that was the most offensive one we could really find at the time.
See, the mysterious Pete, who will be on at some point, fucked us over because we asked him for something. No,
he did give us a lot of.
aye, but I specifically
material.
said some dubstep. And he
it's not much
decided,
more to
he didn't give us dubstep, he gave us the spooky tune that we use.
we do use that as well.
Yeah, but that's not an intro song, that's no banging like the other one.
True, man. It doesn't get
Where a robotic woman saying turbo.
I put a lot of work into that.
Fucking yes.
But imagine we just found a tune that just had those words in it.
Yeah, that'd
fucking
be-
yes.
Turbo. That is very specific.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pete, next time ask for some dubstep, come up with something banging. Get to work with Skrillex.
Yeah,
or-
drop it hard, motherfucker.
We need a drop, whatever that means.
You are getting old, aren't you?
I'm getting old. Yeah, I've been old forever. Maybe not in actual years, but definitely physically and mentally. You know, just haggard
Yeah,
and beyond repair. So this month, I'm getting old. I'm not really, but that's fine.
That's the framing we've got for this.
Yeah, that's just I needed a pun for the title, so that's what I came up with. So I had to fit something into it. I've got another thing. Like this is something. It's no something me and Jameson done, but I was listening to episode 3, so we don't repeat patter too much. And I can't believe we didn't bring this up. In terms of getting old, I've always looked to other people for some life advice, right? And one time, this was after when all the mad goth bastards hung about at the Goma, and they were kind of shunted round the back to the stairs at the back of Borders. Me and Jameson were sitting there one day. I'm assuming we were underage, or we would have been in his house drinking, or we had no money or whatever, so we were just sitting there, a nice sunny day, and there was 2 wee guys sitting behind us. Couple years, well, one was like about our age, but his pal was a few years younger than us, and he was really worried because it was the first time he was going to the cat house unders, right? And you could tell he was a bit, I don't know what.
Dubious about it.
Aye, dubious, don't know what to expect. And he's like, me and Jameson are punk as fuck, so we always stuck to the punk floor, obviously, and by that I mean the floor that played like Blink and Newfound Glory and all those punk rock heroes.
Punk rock heroes.
But this wee guy's like, I don't know, like, what if they play a song and there's a mosh pit and I get stuck in it? Right?
It's perpetual, like.
I just
pushing
can't.
around.
He's still in there, stuck in a mosh pit all these years later.
Fana get thrown everywhere.
But this guy gave some advice that has stuck to me to this day because I don't actually know what the advice was meant to be. Right. He turned around to his young friend and went, "The worst thing you can do when you go into a mosh pit is shit yourself." And me and Jameson were just sitting like thinking, surely the worst thing you can do in any situation is shit yourself. I'm just going to the bank. Oh fuck, shut myself.
Oh no,
I
man.
need to go home and change. That's what happened. And it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, I guess that is a pretty bad thing to do.
Is it maybe like a don't show weakness? Like he's just trying to be a bit metal about saying don't be weak, don't shite yourself, be a hard cunt in that mosh pit.
He was very petite. He was a wee guy. He looked about 12 and he was a wee skinny guy. And it's like, mate, just you don't need to go in the mosh pit. It's fine.
It's optional for the most part.
It is optional. And talking about the cat house comes up quite a lot. It's quite depressing. But the cat house, right, is this weird thing because obviously when I was like early 2000s, that's when like new metal and like rock music became popular after like the 90s Ibiza craze with all the fucking dance music nonsense. But there was still those people who were like, I'm into this but I'm not really, it's the popular thing kind of thing.
It's the thing to go into.
So you'd always see people in the cat house wearing like they were dressed like the Insane Clown Posse with the fucking the paint, like there was like the baggy, and I can't say it because I wear fucking hockey jerseys, but like the sort of baggy, I think it's baseball shirts and like the big baggy jeans, which obviously was a mosher thing as well. But there was a bit in the upstairs bit every week where they'd stop and play like some shitty hip hop music, and I'm not going to pretend I knew who it was, but for argument's sake we'll say that
Notorious Big,
Notorious Big, and that song that Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre done together that just had a wee shitty piano, high pitched hook.
That is not a shit song.
It's a shit song.
You're a shit song.
Cool. But anyway, like, but people would stop and like start doing some breakdancing in the cat house.
Glasgow.
And by breakdancing, I mean they would just sort of go down.
Oh, like so not good breakdancing,
Well,
like they would try it and...
As a breakdancing authority of Glasgow, no. Right? But it was just like, you could see they were trying, but they weren't quite good.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like me trying to breakdance, you know, it's just an A for effort, but Z for everything else, you know. Yeah, you're not fooling anyone.
It's not a job.
They'll just look at me and go, mate, you're still white, just
Like,
white.
the best thing you're going to get out of it is like a laugh, not like an applause.
Or an injury, probably. Aye, but they would all get up and start shaking hands and being like, oh,
Well done.
aye, well done, mate, you fucked it, you know. And it wasn't like, you know, the cool guys who like spin about in their heads and things like that. It
Just
wasn't
like a weak back effort.
aye,
Propelling themselves with their legs.
a crab walk like across the thing. And I mean, this obviously when we have our live show at the Cat House, and
Which
like,
is most definitely.
which is happening, and all 20
Missed
listeners are going to come and join in. We'll start doing some breakdancing when they inevitably play Fallout Boy or anything that they always play. You know,
Aye.
prime
Misery
breakdance music,
business.
misery business. Aye. See that's not one I associate with the Cat House because it's not like that. That was later on.
Oh, I suppose that was more my,
That was like
my
the
time
mid,
at the kind of-
the mid 2000s. But whereas like the early 2000s, they still play all the same shite for the Cat House, and it's probably still DRE or whatever it's called as well. And those same cunts are still no getting it, no doing the dance very well, you know. But anyway, off the Cat House, we've got some more housekeeping,
the Cat House.
don't we?
Aye, we do. I know everything that's written down there.
Aye. Well, we did speak about this.
I know.
You wanted to give a
I've already shown my memory is not the best.
You wanted to give a flat Earth update because not only are we the podcast at Eckies, I like to think we're the podcast of Flat Earth and the XFL
And the
as well.
XFL, we've taken an interest in both of these subjects, and we feel like, you know, you listening to that part of episode 2 that maybe or maybe didn't actually get put in very where we did speak about the XFL and Flat Earth in a wee bit of detail. Do you remember, well, Stephen might remember, you might not remember, we spoke about the guy that was going to send a rocket with himself in it so he could try and prove to himself that the Earth was round or flat.
But the good thing about him was, though, not only does he believe the Earth is flat, he also flat out denies that science is a thing.
He's literally, I've got a quote written down saying, I do not believe in science.
Now, stop me if I'm wrong here, right? Surely that at least a rudimentary understanding of science is going to be needed for building a rocket.
Not only a steam-powered rocket, so like, you know, science has been chipping in with the whole steam thing past couple of 100 years. You'd probably need to agree with a wee bit of it to make a rocket. But
maybe he's just using loads of kettles.
Kettle power, man, yes.
It's no science, it's electricity.
I've checked. Yeah, no, but like, he must have no studied it very well making this whole rocket business, because he sent it up, and you know, we were going to do the podcast last week and I didn't really have much news in the Flat Earth update, but on that day,
That's
the
right.
25th of March, he tried to fly, and I say tried because he shot up, it took off, his mad we like homemade rocket with him inside, and it got 1,875 feet in the air and then kind of broke and he fell at it.
See, to be fair to him, that's much higher than I would have expected.
I'm pretty impressed, man. Like, for a guy just doing it, do you know what, did you ever find out his name? Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
His name's Mike Hughes, but he's more colloquially known as Mad Mike Hughes.
Was that before or after the rocket?
I think that's just been since birth. But I think he's okay. Like, he landed pretty badly, but he took it all in his good stride. But I think he said he wants to do it again because he didn't really get high enough. But I also found out he is running for local local governor as well. So get your voting cards out.
Where's he based? Vegas?
I fucking was anything like that. I know that. Well, it might be Vegas actually. Might be.
You'd think you'd try and get out for a desert to avoid catastrophe more than
Yeah, true.
going for New York City's just going to end badly for anyone, you know.
Right in
But
Central Park. 1,800-foot rocket.
off Trump Tower or whatever it's called. So he survived a 1,000-foot fall and he's no deed.
Well, he had a couple of parachutes, but he's no dead. I think he like pure destroyed his nose, but he'll be alright.
Parachutes, some would say like friction, wind resistance, and things that are probably come under science.
I don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't believe in science, so
I don't believe in science. I love these people that I don't believe in climate change. Why? Because
I don't.
Because all these guys are lying. Because what is it? Someone's like, is that Tammy Laren or something? That right wing bimbo who's a complete cunt. Who's like, I don't believe in climate change. It's just a conspiracy to make America create less things so the Chinese can get it. They can make it instead, and it's like that's not how it works.
That's quite the stretch. I'm logically.
And she's like, if climate change is so bad, why are the polar ice caps melting? And it's like, well, that's a result of it. That is climate change because it's getting warmer. They just think that weather and climate change is the same thing, and it's not.
It was raining yesterday, and it wasn't that warm. Therefore,
aye,
thanks, man. These fucking wanks.
So I've got an XFL update. Now this is beautiful news, and I believe Vincent McMahon of WWE and XFL, if I can remember what it was called there, is absolutely beeling. Now, a lot of revelations came out about the XFL a few years ago.
So wait, will we give a wee precursor of what the XFL actually is?
The XFL may or may not be called the Extreme Football League. I've never actually read up on that. Maybe it's just called the XFL.
Called here.
Right, that's what it is, because it's fucking extreme, mate.
Aye.
Pervin cheerleaders, extreme. Jesse the Body Ventura, extreme. Doc Brown, extreme. So it was a football league. Probably, I think it was about 2001, 2002, turn of the century. Anyway, when Vince McMahon decided, you know what, NFL's doing well. I'm going to try and copy it, but on a lesser scale and badly. So
that was his criteria.
That was his criteria.
Smaller and shiter.
So this failed. Now Vince McMahon is really good in the wrestling world, but everything else he's tried has failed. He tried to compete with Mr. Olympia, the bodybuilding.
Yeah, bodybuilding.
And then the early 90s, I can't remember what it was called. Maybe the WBF, because they were WWF at the time, so it would have been World Bodybuilding Federation.
XBB, Extreme Bodybuilding.
Extreme Bodybuilding. But his idea for that is like, obviously guy in tiny pants showing off their muscles isn't enough, you know.
They need to do something with the muscles.
So they need to do something with it. So he kind of done, it was like a cross between bodybuilding and wrestling. So you had all these guys who were like, this guy's a cop, this guy a bodybuilding cop, this guy's a bodybuilding doctor. And it turns out, if you're into guys in posing pouches, right, which admittedly I'm not, you don't really care if the guy's a doctor or a dentist or whatever. You just want to see him do his thing.
Nah, you just want to see the bulge. Get your name bulge.
Which is ironic because they take loads of steroids and don't have a bulge anymore. It's just like an empty posing pouch. So he's got a history of failure, right? And the XFL did completely die. Now there was a guy, he's quite famous for doing documentaries in sports. Done one on the XFL, I think it was last year. Going, look at the state of this.
Check this out.
Check this shit out. This was a disaster. And Vince McMahon, never one to realise he fucked it, went, cool, we'll do it again.
I will fucking tell you.
This time we're going to do it, and this bit did get cut. Vince McMahon and Donald Trump are pals, right? Dating back to wrestling when like there was a few WrestleManias at Trump's hotels and things like that back in the 90s. Donald Trump is actually in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because he was in
a match where whoever lost, Vince McMahon or Donald Trump, had to get his head shaved. And obviously, because Donald Trump has the weirdest hair known to existence, a lot of people bought that show to see what would happen, and Vince McMahon lost, he got his head shaved. So, with this whole thing just now, where obviously kneeling during the national anthem's a big hot topic in America.
A big brouhaha.
A big brouhaha, because obviously it means you hate the troops if you take a knee during the national anthem. Especially when you say, I don't hate the troops, it's against police brutality.
When you make your motive's really clear. It doesn't matter.
It's the troops you hate and America and the flag. And
so it's easier to write in a bit of paper than your other reason.
It's true. So, obviously, the new XFL, you're not allowed to do that, right?
Not allowed to kneel.
Not allowed to kneel during the national anthem, because that's what you watch football for. I mean,
that's the main event. You don't delay watching it for 5 minutes so you don't have to watch that pitch. You tune in for that moment.
Yeah, so there's rule changes. Apparently, I should have mentioned this during the original XFL opening gambit we were going with here. In American football, the NFL, like, you flip a coin, and then, like football, you go, well, we kick or receive, and then you either wait for the ball to be kicked to you or kick the ball. The XFL, to begin with, decided this is shite. Nobody's into this, like, coin toss pish, kneeling during the coin toss. So their idea was that you'd put the ball in the middle of the field, and then a guy for each team would run full pelt into the middle, and whoever got the ball first started. Apparently this was a disaster.
I can see why. Like,
the first 3 games or something like guys completely fucked their knees running full pelt to get the ball, and like had career ending,
just
no
like
career,
slam into each other,
like season ending injuries for it, and it's like,
that's extreme.
That is extremely stupid. So there was that, and they've said they're not doing that this time. Now, the return of the XFL is quite coincidental, I think, because obviously Trump is at war with everybody, but the NFL, I don't know if they still are, but for a while we fucking hated the NFL because kneeling and all that good stuff. Instead of like trying to find a solution to like these social issues that are being brought up, you just fucking rant and rave on Twitter.
Rant on Twitter, put tariff something.
Right.
The news will move on the next day.
Build a wall, all that stuff. So the XFL is due to come back in 2020, which would be election year in America. So I don't know if this is like some sort of
elaborate advertising scheme
for
4 more years.
For 4 more years. 4 more years.
Like, he'll fight the next presidential candidate. Oh, sorry, no, it's not even wrestling. He'll be the quarterback.
No, it's
of a team versus the next presidential
Democrat candidate. They'll put the ball in the middle, and both of them need to run. Whoever gets the ball is the president.
That's how simplistic US politics is heading.
That'd be brilliant, man, because like they're both. Like, we'll just say for argument's sake that Bernie Sanders does make it for the Democrat position next time. Donald Trump's in his 70s. Bernie looks like he's in his 90s. So trying to see them run towards a ball would be funny if nothing else.
Like electric Zimmer frames.
Rascals. Going 3 mile an
Here,
hour.
I think the Extreme Football League has just got a new rule change. Everybody owns Zimmers.
So, anyway, to bring this back to what we were talking about, right, the XFL update here is the aforementioned guy who made the documentary about the XFL has already came out and went, know what, 2019, I'm doing more in American Football League.
So we've got a third tier
We've got
of homegrown leagues here.
So let's assume that all the players that Vince McMahon was going to sign up for his teams, they've now got an option a year earlier to sign up for other teams in a different league. The thing against McMahon here is he's not got a TV deal for his XFL,
league,
whereas this guy already does with CBS, which, if I remember right, were the company that carried the XFL the first time round.
It was cool, so they're not exactly going to punt 2 football leagues then.
Aye, so this
guy's totally sniped McMahon.
So, and the best bit about it is, I can't remember the guy's name who done the documentary, but his dad used to be a business partner of Vince McMahon back in the day.
Alright.
Dick Ebersol was his dad's name. We'll go with Bob Ebersol is the guy now.
Sure.
And so Vince McMahon's pure Beelan, feels betrayed. And during all this, I'm just thinking, who cares?
Who's actually going to really watch?
Yeah, it's not going to beat the NFL. No. Like, they're the established league, you know. They've been about for potentially forever. I don't know about American football.
It could be. You could say for zero AD, and I'll be like, yep, probably.
For 0 AD. Jesus got crucified because he didn't get to the ball at halfway line quick enough. The Romans won the boggett.
The boggett is what it's called.
Up in the cross. This is me trying to be topical since it's Easter. Easter special. So the XFL, yeah, it's just like nobody cares. But it's funny because Vince McMahon's he thinks he can do no wrong despite all these previous failures. He hates that he's known for wrestling and nothing else because he's tried everything else. He started a WWE film studio that made loads of bad films starring like John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin that none of them made
None of
any
them
money.
really went anywhere. Huh?
There was one that was especially bad that I watched. I can't remember what it had. It was called, but it had. I can't even remember the wrestler who was in it, but it had the voice of Lisa Simpson as the female lead, and it was fucking honking. It was just so bad. There was something about a school bus. That's all I remember. And the guy, the wrestler in it, he got out of jail and he was trying to win custody of his children back, and he crashed a school bus and shenanigans ensued, and it's just like.
I mean, that sounds like a 10 out of 10 classic.
I think it was called Citizen Kane or something like that. No, it was just fucking shite, and it's like, just stick to wrestling, mate. It's fine. You don't need to be a multimedia mogul.
Aye.
No, everybody reaches that. Just do what you know.
Just chill out, man.
Just chill out. So that, and I've got one more update.
Oh.
I can't remember when I mentioned this because I've listened to all the episodes recently. So, but this popped up on my Facebook the other day, and it really upset me.
What was it?
Oh well, remember we were talking about Minions.
Minions. I do remember the chat about Minions.
So somebody on my Facebook done the cardinal sin that should have got them
Ousted.
from my Facebook friends. They shared something from a Facebook page called Minion Quotes.
Minion quotes.
Minion Quotes.
Oh, don't be.
And I know what you're thinking. Was it gibberish and then banana? No, it was not. Yeah, I can't remember. This is a few weeks ago, but I'm on the page now. Just have a wee look at what we've got
to
here.
see what the class of content is.
So you've got your normal wee guy making a face there, right?
Right, aye.
A wee minion making a face. And remember this classic quote for Despicable Me?
All right, okay, ready?
I officially resign from adulthood. Decisions will be made using the eeny, meeny, miny, mo method, and arguments will be settled by sticking out my tongue.
Yeah. Was that not like the opening line as well?
I think so.
That was the Kickstarter for the main point of the movie, I'm sure.
I start the day with Captain Crunch and end the day with Captain Morgan because apparently I want to be a pirate.
I mean, that might have been a deleted scene. Who knows?
Sometimes you have to sit back, drink a few beers, and accept the shit you can't change. This is ranked party to begin with, right?
That is.
But why is the fucking minions attached?
I know, like that's just, you could just air that grievance like on your usual kind of Facebook wall, and people would no care there. Why'd you have to put in the minions and get them involved?
You know the worst part about it has over 1 million followers. Why is it? What? See if ranked parties are hanging right. This podcast. Why have we not got a million listeners?
Exactly, this is the rankest of all. Fuck's sake.
I feel a bit better getting all that off my chest. Is there anything else you want to touch on for previous episodes?
I'm not. I don't think so. Really.
So
This is all new.
This is the new content. How's your day been?
It's been really good. How's yours been?
No. So, new month, new podcast, no hope. So, as I said, turned 33 this month. All I want for my birthday is a caterpillar cake. I'm at that age where I like fuck birthdays.
Just the simple things.
Right, just gives a cake. You know, that's all I want. And
do you ever do like a big show for your birthday or anything like that? Or are you just gonna?
I did have that special on Channel 4.
Do you ever do like an event, like have people out and all that business? Or?
See, I don't have very many friends. I can't do that. We can go to the park and walk around. No, I had, as I said, when I was younger, I'd just go to the cat house with people, and to be fair, I'd done that even if it wasn't every Saturday, so it didn't
you just got a free drink one when it was every year.
No, I had a one birthday party once, I think, when I was a wee guy at McDonald's or something like that, but it was never
your big thing.
Never a big thing. Do you?
Birthdays, I don't really. I never really do much. If I've ever like gone out or anything like that, it's usually for my pals because they're like, "Oh, it's your birthday. What do we do?" It's like, just let's go somewhere. I suppose there was the one time that we got completely, steaming at the cat house and we started walking about like Glasgow Green. Do you know the big play park? It's got sand everywhere in Glasgow Green. The big four big towers and all that. So we just grabbed all the booze from a nearby flat. That we had keys to, don't worry, and then went to the top of one of the towers and just started drinking till about 6 a.m, going down the slides and that. It was good.
That sounds riveting. The wee story, Jameson used to live in the flats across the road for that part of the park.
Oh aye.
One time, I'm sure it was him, someone lived near a park and had a telescope at their window, and I was just like,
That's a bit odd.
this is a bit strange. It's like, I'm looking at the sky. It's like, if I was a parent, I'd be phoning the police.
It's pretty dodgy. Was it Jameson?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure he'll shout at me if it wasn't, but I'm 99% certain it was him when he lived in across the road for Glasgow Green. Because that was good when he lived there, because one night I went to his house on a Friday, got a wee bit drunk, just kept on his couch, but it was the next day was that fucking Big Day Out Radio 1 thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I was woken up for a sound check by One Direction.
Oh, that must have been a fantastic way of waking up.
Oh, it was brilliant, especially when I went to leave the next day and I couldn't get moving just because there was people everywhere and like town was mobbed. Brilliant, mate. Who doesn't like One Direction?
Who doesn't love crowds? Just big, large groups of people there listening to crap music.
Aye, it's like a night in your house.
Dunt.
So, what's the topics this month then? What do you want to talk about?
I don't know, mate. I did have a wee. Like, I was trying to find interesting things to talk about. For last week's episode. Last week's recording spec, but we didn't get a chance to do that. So I just had a notepad written down with some stuff. Mostly it was the Flat Earth update, which I think is
Covered.
just well and truly covered. We'll look for more info on that. I want to see how Mad Mike gets on in the future.
Don't worry, but as soon as we've got another Mad Mike update, you will hear.
I've got my ear at the ground tonight. Another thing I had written down, I remember like perusing, I just thought this sounded really interesting. And it was, have you heard about the ghost ships from North Korea?
The ghost shits or shit?
Ships?
Right.
The ghost ships from North Korea.
No.
There's all these mad ghost ships that keep showing up like near Japan. And it's just like all these dead crew dudes on a North Korean boat, and it's like, where the fuck did you come from? How did you get here? And you look into them and they've got all these mad parasites coming in. It's fucking terrifying. We're going to nuclear war.
Sorry, I thought you were saying we're going to North Korea to investigate.
Podcast for North Korea.
Just round up Jesse the Body Ventura and Tom DeLonge and off we go. Get to the bottom of this.
The conspiracy boat.
Mate, imagine we had a conspiracy boat.
That'd be great.
I've not heard this, but I'm just assuming that Kim Jong-un, is it now? Is it Yo still? Whoever.
Sure.
Has just went, no what, I don't like these cunts anymore. I'll just
Send
murder
them
them and put them on a boat.
It just seems like quite an effort. Like, imagine the amount of like ships that keep showing up in Japanese waters, and they're like, oh, fuck's sake, another fucking ship.
Godzilla's being really efficient these days. It's not even coming out the water, he's just killing them while they're on it.
Fucking slapping it.
Is that racist?
I think just purely for the mention of Godzilla, probably.
Alright, it might be Mothra then, right? But they would notice Mothra.
Aye, he wafts. You'd feel it.
Well, maybe he's moved to North Korea and just like moves them. Like, no, I don't know. I don't know kaiju at all, right? I'll admit that. This isn't my
Your forte, man. But no, I was reading about it and I was like, that is completely fucked up, and I wonder how well that translates to patter. And now we know
It doesn't.
it doesn't. It doesn't, Eddie.
I suppose we could go with my neighbour updating our fucking bin bag.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, how much did we get into last time?
I think
mean,
we
just the burning down.
Burning down how Jameson said I should have got my dick out to creep her out instead of just like walking slowly.
Sexual assault is great, isn't it?
The joke's on her. I got my will out and arrested. No, but she's
the papers.
but good advertising for the podcast. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
National press.
Podcast live video.
No, I hate her, right? It's getting worse because she fucking leaves bags of rubbish in the close now. And
is she like right across the
she's
door
right
for you as
okay,
well?
there's like 2 flats on the landing, she's across
The opposite one for you.
Yeah. So, and there's like maybe 10, 20 feet between the two.
Aye.
No, probably about 12 feet. It's not that much of a distance. So it's not a lot of landing, right? So the other week she decided to have 3 bin bags in the middle. And I was like, right, this
Are
could
you
get...
like ground floor, first floor?
First floor.
First floor, so like...
But I did time it yesterday or the other day when I took the bins down, how long it took me to take the bins out to the bin shed and back up.
How long did it take?
1 minute 37.
Oh, that's a good
And
time.
that includes time to stop and lock my door when I went out and unlock the back door. You know,
Aye.
it's like...
That's
doesn't take that
complete
long.
security. Aye.
if you're going to the front door to put your bins out, just take them out, man. Just
I've seen, like, you know, over the past few weeks, just your trials with this, because I keep getting pictures whenever there's new bin bags. I remember there was one where there was none there, and you were like, yes, she finally grew up or something like that. And then the next hour it was like, fuck, there's 3 more. And like copious amounts of menus for like local restaurants and shit.
Aye,
man.
they've been there since before Christmas. That's pissing me off.
The deals
as well.
probably don't even last anymore.
Domino's don't do that either. No, but it's driving me crazy, right? I'm not even lying.
I know.
Because like the 3 bin bags was last weekend, right? So she finally took them down on the Monday, and it's like, right, she just took 3 bin bags down. There can't be that much more rubbish. Mm-hmm. And then the next day there was another bag of rubbish.
Aye.
And then when I was leaving this morning there was another fucking bag of rubbish. So we could bring this prime podcast content, you know?
I mean, you need to know our trials.
Trials
You know,
and
it's not all fun and games.
well, this is actually pissing me off more than my house nearly burning down, right? Because at least that was one off. This is
There's no repeat thing.
This is an ongoing saga, you know, of the bin bags.
I still see you try and post like parts of the bin bag through our letterbox, because you just got one of those ones that's right down the bottom of the door, so you could easily just wedge a wee bit in there.
I'm tempted to just do it with the menus.
Just start putting your bin bags on her bin bags.
See, I wanted to.
She won't even notice.
I told you this. I wanted to leave my bin bags out in the close the other day, but I'd been cutting chicken, so I couldn't. That would just.
I'd be humming.
I'd be humming.
And even that is more care and thought than she's putting her bin bags out there.
To be fair, all she does is eat takeaways, so. Like, there's just full of pizza boxes and that all the time. I wish I had that life where I could just eat pizza constantly.
But as we
That'd be
discussed, cheese.
Aye. And people go, why do you have pizza with cheese? That's not the
that's
point.
not really pizza.
That's just bread with tomato sauce on it and ham. It's just a ham sandwich. No foldings.
And with sauce.
And with sauce. Like. So the neighbour, fuck her. I hope she's listening to this. I hope she listens. Just so
You're gonna get a weird, really aggressive knock on your door one day. Just be like,
I've just been on that SoundCloud.
I've already had her boyfriend at the door. Right?
what was he saying?
I was like, is I want
Can't
to
say
say
her
her
name.
Is I can't even remember her name. Is my girlfriend there? Obviously, is what he said. Mm-hmm. And I was just looking at it like, would you not be raging?
Aye.
It's like if you knocked the door and another guy answered at your girlfriend's house, you know.
Even better if you're in your box. Aye, mate. Aye, she's through there.
Because
You're not living.
I think she lives herself. I'm assuming she lives herself. Because
That's if he was chatting.
aye, well, not only that, but like my house is a 1-bedroom flat,
yeah,
and I've never seen anyone else come out the door. So,
Aye, or leave bin bags.
or leave bin bags. To be fair, it might not even be her. How bad will I feel if it turns out it's a guy up the stairs
she's
just getting down to the next
How
level?
fucking insidious would that be, man? Just you're upstairs now and be like, nah, this is this cunt's problem.
I can't be arsed. I've gone as far as I want to go.
Oh, man.
She'll deal with
Imagine
it.
that.
I'd kind of feel bad, but not really, because it's an ongoing thing, you know. Next month, I'm hoping to have some good news about the neighbour. You know, maybe.
Have you got a plan? Have you got a plan of action here? I think we need to take the battle to her.
You know her, kinda.
I vaguely. I've not really spoke to her in years. I've had maybe 3 conversations.
As terrible as the bin bag situation suggests.
I don't know, man. It was 3 conversations. I couldn't judge too much for 3 conversations.
But that tattoo, you can get
I
a
can get a good judgment behind that.
Right, so.
I don't even mind. Right, no, the thing is, I don't even mind about Star Trek. Star Trek's good, but that's commitment.
I've never watched it. I can't tell you. Ever. Any of it.
Any of it at all. I mean, there's so much it. How have you not seen any of it?
I don't really watch TV at all. I watch It's Always Sunny. That's it.
That's all. To be honest, that's fine. That's all you need to
I
watch.
used to watch It's Always Sunny and Archer, but then I gave up on Archer because
It's Always Sunny's better.
well, you did. I didn't. Wasn't it a choice of one or the other? Was it
I
like
know.
gun to my head?
just
You need to
kidding.
pick one. I just gave. I don't know. I just can't.
Just can't do it.
I just can't. I can't explain why I don't watch anymore. I've tried watching the latest series so many times, and I
just can't get
can't
into it.
get into it.
That's a shame.
We went into why I don't watch Rick and Morty anymore. There's actual reasons for that.
See, I'm still going to watch that. I'm just going to be really derisive of its fans.
I just can't. I get so far in and then just go, I'm not into this. So, Right, I think we should go into some questions now.
I know we've got more questions this time. We've got more interaction.
A bit of interaction from all you loyal listeners. One in particular. We'll start off with you, right? Have you got any stories about being deliriously ill?
This is from my boy Pete.
At Peter Watson.
At Peter Watson, maybe. I've been deliriously ill. There was a time when I was at college. I was in second year of college, doing my graded unit, and I got some mad bug. And it all started, right, because my sister was watching the what's that? The Euro thing, song contest, blah blah blah, whatever it is.
Eurovision.
Eurovision, that's the word for it. Aye, fuck's sake. And I think I was like 18 or just turned 19 or something like that, and she was like, I'm getting some friends over, we're all going to watch it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of shite and lame, but alright, sure. Sat watching that, got absolutely steaming, went to bed at like 4 in the morning or something like that, and I was like, this is a good night. Woke up and I felt shite, man. It was like the worst hangover I'd ever had in my entire life, like waiting and all that. It was some proper good joyous times. And it just didn't go away for like 3 or 4 days, and then I realised that I had this mad infection or some shit, and it just made my guts no work. And I was in bed for like a week and a half or some shit like that, man. I was in college and I had to do like my graded unit, which was the whole thing to pass the whole year, and I was like, I can't. No, it's not going to happen, mate. It's not going to happen. I'd rather die right now. And I remember the entire time I had like a laptop just watching something to try and distract me, and for some reason in my weird jaded mind I thought Gary Tank Commander would be kind of something to pass the days. Holy fuck, what a terrible show. And now whenever that shows up, like when I see any picture of it, I'm just pure reminded at this time when I'm just pure clutching my guts, just going, I hate life.
That sounds pretty awful.
That was pretty bad, man.
I think I've kind of went into my worst illness last episode.
Aye.
I'm trying to think of anything else. There was that time that I was at my mate for school's house, and I went to want a tuna sandwich, and I went, that sounds no bad. So he came through a tuna sandwich, and I bit into it, and it was fucking disgusting. I said, what have you done to this? He's like, I didn't have any mayonnaise, so I used whiskey instead.
What?
About an hour later, I was so fucking ill. Like, just...
Whiskey and tuna doesn't go.
Whiskey and tuna doesn't go. I was so ill, and I was just lying on this couch, like, I don't want to move, I just want to die. Luckily, it didn't last as long as a week and a half. It was just like a few hours, but it's probably the sickest I've been so soon after like consumption, because it was just an hour tops. I was
just instant
weighty everywhere, and I wanted to greet. It was so bad. I'm trying to think of other things I've had. I mean, I've had pneumonia. That's pretty bad.
That's pretty hardcore.
You just get on with it.
How delirious were you? I think that's the crux of Pete's question here. Because I was,
you watched
in
Gary
this world, I
watched
watched Gary Tamander one.
Gary Tamander.
Gary Tamander. Fuck's sake, man.
If I'm ever a porn star, that's going to be my name, Gary Tamander.
Gary Tamander. Down and dirty.
Wasn't that delirious? That, I mean, there's been some drug related escapades where I was pretty delirious. Like, there was that time we tried some acid. And
acid, you say?
Acid.
And the listeners hear you talking about this.
My dad owned a van, right? So for whatever reason, this is the first time I'd ever tried it, and none of us knew how to take it. So we took a tab, waited like 5 minutes, and went, this is shit, it's not working. Need to take more, because obviously. Man. So we took another one. It was like 5 minutes passed again. It's like, this is shit. I'm going to go to the kebab shop and get some chips or something like that. So as soon as I went out, that like the air touched me. I was like, oh, fuck.
It hit you.
So it just, obviously you can't take acid unless air's involved. So it was like, and then we made it to the kebab shop, and it was just kind of like, oh fuck, just spacey.
Aye.
Right. And then it was an ordeal, but I finally got my chips or whatever ordered, and then we go back to my house. But my dad's
40 minutes later.
3 hours later. No, my dad's van was outside the house, and I knew that the back door didn't lock properly, so you could open it from the outside, but there was never anything in it, so it didn't matter. It was like a minivan thing, because they drove people to like he worked as an agency driver driving people to like working it.
Right.
So I was like, fuck it, let's go into the back of the van and eat the chips, right? So good idea. And then we went in and we went to unlock the door again and we couldn't.
Fuck, you just locked yourself in the
We
back
locked
of the
ourselves in
van.
the back of a van. Apparently you can only open it for the inside, the outside,
outside
sorry.
then, yeah.
No, the inside. So we're like, fuck this. Because my dad was away for the weekend, that's why we were in my house taking acid.
Aye.
It's not the sort of thing you do when your parents are there.
Aye, Saturday night.
But an hour later, it occurred to me that if we just went into the front seat, we'd be able to pull up the
Yeah, the wee latch.
and
latch. And get
just
out.
open the door. But like, we're just sitting in the back.
Like blubbering it is. Like,
My dad's away all weekend, we're going to be dying here.
we've got chips. Ration the chips.
We've got chips, we'll be fine, lads. Just call for help, we'll be alright. And then like an hour later, it's like, oh wait, it's cool. We can get out the van again. So I had to go back in, get my dad's key to lock the door, because like the driver's seat door open, like people will notice, you know, you're not going to go up to the back door and go, I wonder if this opens. Fuck, it does. You know, but if like the wee hangs up, that might invite
Yeah,
people
that's
to,
a big. That's big
to get into it. So it was that I was a bit delirious at that point, and the second time, oh no, that's when that night is the night also. Have you ever seen Happy Tree Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the night I discovered that. We're just flicking through the channels, and it's like, oh, there's nice wee
Nice wee
animals,
colour, aye,
nice colours. That's pretty good. And then like violence, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. This is kind of strange. But the second time I took acid, I was freaking myself out, because just as I took it, I knew how to take it this time, so it wasn't as bad. But this was a point where I was really delirious, and for whatever reason, my friends who were, there was only some who was taking acid, but one of them who decided that when they take acid they were just going to drink that night, they were going to sit and have an evil laugh competition with other people that were there. So when you're sitting like kind of tripping, you go ha 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 in the background, you're like, oh, I don't like this,
no,
don't like this, don't like this. But
Imagine.
people always say like acid, oh, you just sit there and see everything. You don't, only kind of like you're really spacing, like tripping out a wee bit, but it's not like fucking colours are coming, like the baddies are coming, apart from the evil laugh. But the one time I'll ever remember going fuck, seeing something is out of like, alright, I need a piss, went to the toilet. This wasn't at my house, this is a guy I know in Coatbridge, this is no with it, Coatbridge. But as I went to piss, the toilet bowl just seemed to go whoop, and got really, really big.
I mean, that's brilliant.
And then I thought, yes, mate, I've got all this target.
Oh,
and then
room.
like the next day I was sitting, I was like, I've pissed all up his wall, all over his floor. He's got to be fucking beeling when he goes out of the toilet and sees some sort of piss massacre has went on.
Your toilet gets smaller. Sorry.
Sorry, mate, your toilet got really big and really small, so I had to piss.
You came what it's like.
So that's the closest I've been to being delirious, but that was self-inflicted.
Aye.
Unless you count the only... it was a night, we were talking about this the other day, off the air.
Off record.
Off the record. The one time I ever took speed.
Yeah.
So I was quite a reckless youth.
It's become apparent.
In terms of time, you try it once, who cares, or multiple times if you like it. That's what's the case for me. The name of this podcast was really good for an escapade in my life. I have actually taken a TurboDunter.
A turbo dun. What constitutes a turbo dunter, Stephen?
I mean, ecstasy is something that you shouldn't overindulge with all at
Shouldn't
once.
trifle with.
But one night I had 3 eckies, and instead of taking them through the night when I was like coming down a wee bit for the first one and the second one, I decided to be a complete fucking bellend and take all 3 at once.
That
is a TurboDunter. I don't know what the official starting point for a TurboDunter is, but this is definitely one.
We're claiming this.
Claiming
This
this.
nomenclature is ours.
This was a
triple at
TurboDunter.
once.
So this was about 11 o'clock in the cat house, obviously the prime eckie taking place. So and all my pals were like, look, to be fair to them, right, they were looking at it for me, they were going, this is one of the worst ideas you've ever had, right? This, no good can come of this.
No one promoted this.
Nobody went, that's a brilliant idea, we'll do it with you. Everybody's like, no, McLaren, stop, this is stupid.
In this.
And I went, no, it'll be fine. So I gubbed all 3 at once. This, say about 11:30, right? Next thing I know, the lights are coming on to signify, right, everybody, that's the end of the night. So say the last about 3:05 for the cat house, right?
Aye.
So looking back, I lost 3,
3, maybe 4 hours of your life.
just about 3 hours, we'll say. And it wasn't worth it. I don't remember a thing. My mate John Allen's like, you were so fucked, but we managed to keep you with us because when the bouncers were walking around, we just moved your arms like you were dancing, because fuck knows what would have happened if I got kicked out, because I didn't know what was going on.
Aye,
you know,
yeah,
they probably wouldn't have kicked me out. They probably would have got me an ambulance or something like that if they
if you were that bad.
because they'd know like if we put him out, fall in the Clyde or get run over, no good can come of this.
Aye.
The only other thing I remember for that night, I just got. This was when wee thin phones were in vogue, so about 2008, 2009.
Right.
I'd got this wee thin Sony Ericsson phone, and I had a leather jacket, a Misfits leather jacket. I don't know if I mentioned that when I was going through my Misfits phase. So I was like, I put it in my inside pocket so I didn't lose it, which was good. But when I came to, I was like, fuck, I better text my girlfriend at the time because I don't think she was there. So I was like, fuck, where is it? Just feeling everywhere. I was like, I can't find this. When it says that, fuck, I've lost my phone, I don't know where it is. I went up to the bouncers, like, anybody handed in a phone or anything like that? Like, no, mate. And then John, I was like, right, I'll phone it. If someone answers, we'll go and find them. We'll give them money, try and get it back. And then it just started ringing. But my jacket was so bulky and the phone was so thin, I just couldn't feel it in my pocket. And I was like, mate, I'm never taking drugs again. And that was the last night I took drugs, to be fair to me. That's when I realised, like, this life, this is going to end in bad ways. I mean, it was good for that was the last time I was skinny. But apart from that, because like I would take loads of eckies, like, we'd go out Friday, Saturday, take loads of eckies. It was an appetite suppression, so I just didn't eat anything, and then just all through the week. But I was delirious then, I'm assuming, because I don't remember anything. But the last time, going on to the speed story, this was the worst one. I didn't just take eckies, I would drink as well, because I'm a fucking madman. They say don't drink while you're on them, but it's like, who cares? I'll just take all.
That's not punk enough.
That's not punk enough. Mix in with some heroin. So I was drinking, and I took my eckies one at a time at the cat house this time. Like a good boy, learned my lesson. Met a lassie, and she's like, I'm having a party, do you want to come back to mine? So, cool. So I went back to her house, and we were just sitting there talking. She went, I've got some speed, do you want some? And I was like, know what? I've not taken quite enough tonight. I was already fleeing, but
not been enough. I'm a mad cunt.
So I went into the bathroom, done a wee line, and just instantly got this crippling headache.
Aye.
And I was like, I'm not into this. And she went, oh, it's alright, you can go and lie down, wait me. And I was like, right, okay, so I went and lie down. No, let's get some shagging going because my head was bad.
I need to be horizontal.
It's like, you need to lie down, it's alright, I'll stay with you for a bit. So I went and lay down, and I was like, this is bad. This is really bad. And then like I fell asleep, woke up in the morning, headache was still there. I was like, this is the worst. 3 days that lasted. Jesus. I was just lying in my bed going, I can't do anything. My head's just so fucking bad right now. That didn't stop me taking drugs the next weekend though. No. And I was a bit delirious then because like I couldn't leave my bed except to go and piss. It's like I wasn't eating, so there was no shiting, you know. But I was just like,
can't do that.
I was like, I can't do this anymore, and then I did. But I was pretty delirious then. But again, that's not an illness. That was just bad life decisions. So, I mean, no graded unit today, so it was.
I know this is better than me, man.
But this is what I'm telling you, boys and girls, don't do drugs. They're bad.
Aye.
At one point,
this is not a promotionary podcast.
No. At one point,
it's an awareness.
I've been
podcast.
told that by said John Allen, who's moved my arms about when I was to make it look like I was dancing when bouncing went by. He claims that I said drugs are for heroes at one point. I was mistaken. Drugs are not for heroes.
Drugs are for zeros.
Drugs are for bad boys who make bad choices.
Ricky Martin's music is taking the country by storm, and one unlucky fan didn't quite get that chance to meet him on Fanatic. He's the true fan of Ricky Martin.
You know, people are gonna turn on MTV and they're gonna see some girl with Ricky Martin having a good old time. I'm the diehard Ricky Martin fan. I'm the one who should have been on that show.
Yeah, but what would you do for Ricky Martin?
I'd die for Ricky Martin.
So we'll get another question for Pete here. The closest to shitting yourself as an adult? Whew. Probably when I had that cheese the other week.
Do you know? So you had to you ran out of toilet paper and you had to make a emergency run.
That wasn't cheese. That was Tuesday. That was after the curry. Aye.
Right.
See, when you've got the shits, running out of fucking toilet paper is the worst. Worst thing you can do when you shit in yourself is shit yourself, mate.
I think the worst bit about shitting yourself is not the shitty pants, it's the fact that you've shit yourself.
Don't go to the wash pit.
I nearly did it at Beezer one time, which is a cracking way to kick this off. I was up in Dundee, must have been about 20, 21. And I made a wee pal, my first pal in Dundee. I knew nobody when I moved up there. And I met this guy who I'm still pals with today. We were hanging about in the middle of Dundee, and I was like, this is quite alright. And then I could feel the wee grumblings in my insides, and I was like, oh, I could go for a wee Tuesday at some point soon. And I didn't want to be rude to my new pal, so I was just kind of like, oh, right, man. Anyways, I'm gonna have to shoot up the road. Need to go, because it was the middle of, I didn't know where there was restrooms around, and fuck an actual public restroom, man. You need your own house. Need your own.
Sometimes you don't have a choice.
Sometimes you don't have a choice, right? But I took the gamble here, and I was like, I know myself. I know the amount of time I need to for when I first feel a grumbling to evacuate. And I was trying to be really nice to this dude. And I wish, knowing now that he's one of my best pals now, if I could have just told him to fuck off and I needed to go, I certainly would have. But I was trying to be nice and be like, oh, anyways, man, so I'll see you later. And he's like, oh, by the way, so the next week in this lecture, we could talk. And he just started making more and more conversation. And I wasn't rude enough to just be like, mate, I need to make. So eventually said bye and all that shit. And I was walking back up to my flat. Quite a fucking sizable ways away. It was a good 15-minute walk, and I hadn't really prepared for that. It's also uphill, and when you're moving your legs up, things unclench, and just all that feeling and all that kind of pressure all mounting up. I just got to my front door and I was like, fucking hell, this is nearly a disaster, man. Ran straight for the pan.
Well,
crisis averted.
Did you live with someone at that point?
I did.
What would you do if they were in the toilet?
Well, we had that at home. I was going to say we had a sink, but that probably won't go down too well.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. I don't know, panicked at that point. I learned in that day, there is a limit to being polite.
Look, this is the way I look at it, right? You can either be impolite by saying, look, I need to go, but probably shiting yourself in front of someone's more impolite.
I know. I just
try to roll it.
Well, no, I wasn't in any danger when I was out talking to him. It was all the follow-up time of getting home, and I was like, oh shit, you've not budgeted for this.
Why did you not get a taxi or something?
Because I was a student. I was skint as fuck.
You would have had to buy new boxers.
That's true, actually.
It's like, I've only got one pair, I've shot them, so...
Turbo.
Have you got a shine yourself story?
Aye.
Go for it.
Right. I didn't actually shake myself, I should point out with that, because it just made it sound like I did. The closest I've ever been to shaking myself was at Leeds Music Festival, actually.
Right.
Because you're away, I went on the Thursday, came back on the Monday, right, so that's four and a bit days.
Decent few days, aye.
But because it's a festival, the toilets are fucking disgusting.
They're the fucking worst all the time.
And it's alright, as a guy, if I need a wee pee, I can just go and find a wee bush somewhere, it's fine, especially the campsite.
If from my experience with campsites and music festivals, it doesn't even matter if you're a lassie, they'll just squat next to your friends.
I don't blame them, because the toilets are fucking disgusting.
Man.
Start off, I'll say the first night I got there, there's a lot of drugs involved in this story as well, because I was a bad boy.
Keep with the theme.
Wee Ross, who we'll hopefully have on the podcast at some point, was a deviant who enabled a lot of my drug taking back in the day. So I got to the campsite on the Thursday night, as I said. I got paid on the Friday, so I didn't really have much booze with me for the weekend, but I did manage to accumulate 3 bottles of Buckfast because I am
the finest tonic.
Because I'm from McGovern. So I was like, right, So that's fine because I'll have a bottle for the Friday, the Saturday and Sunday, and obviously
Get out.
Friday there was a bus that ran from the campsite to like Leeds or some city centre, whichever was closest. I'm assuming it's like Glasgow Airport where Leeds Music Festival wasn't actually in Leeds, but there was a bus that took you from the campsite to Tesco so you could go and get your booze and come back, right?
That's not bad.
So I was like, well, I'll get my beer and that, and Friday I'll be sorted. So I got there. My girlfriend at the time was putting up the tent, and like the gentleman I was, instead of helping her, I decided, know what, I'm going to start tanning some bucket. So,
Of course, why not?
because why not? So before this, wee Ross went, do you want an eckie? Fucking right I do. So I had my bottle of Buckfast, I had my eckie, and I was having a good time. She got the hang up.
Good wee boy for going. Buckfast in one hand, egg in the other.
Just nibbling in the egg and taking a swallow. So she went and done her thing, put the tent up, and then she got whatever booze she had with her and started drinking. Next thing I know, I've just finished my bottle of Buckfast, feeling a wee bit tipsy, and I went, no what, I'm going to go and get another one. And it was at that time that I noticed that I'd tanned all three.
Fuck.
It was over hours, it wasn't like a fucking
Aye,
or anything
aye.
like that. But like, it was a bit, we got there probably mid-afternoon. This was about 11, and I was like, right, I've done my eckies. I can't remember how many of them I had. done my eckies. I done my bucky. I've nothing now for the the morning. That's me done. So I was like, no what, we need a wee piss. So as I said, I wasn't going to the fucking mango toilet. Though if I was going to use the toilet, the Thursday night probably was
The better night to go. They're most untouched at that point.
But I was like, you know what? There's a tree right there. I'm going to go and use the tree. Right? Excuse me. So I went behind the tree, staggered a wee bit, went up, and then done my wee pee and came back out. Now, mentioned John Allen previously in the podcast, him of Moving Arms with the Bouncer Walk by fame. His brother Dave was there as well. And as I came meandering back round the tree, Dave went, McLernan, you need to go to the medical tent. And I was like, no, I didn't. And he went, you do. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I've drank too much, it's fine. And then he went, no, McLernan, your head's bleeding. You need to go to the medical tent. Like, no, it's fine. I put my hand up to my head, took it away, and there was blood all over it. Fuck. So when I staggered, I must have malkied the tree.
Just not even realised.
Not even realised it because I was away. So I had to go in to the medical tent, got a couple of butterfly stitches. Not
Like your cameo was about it, like, you need to go to the medical tent, by the way, man.
Right. Well, to be fair, I was not in an arguing mood. I wasn't taking a shite, but it turns out he was right. So I went round and I got asked the question, have you been drinking? And I went, aye. Just a wee bit. And she went, alright, got my butterfly stitches, my plaster my head. And then during the night, I woke up and as you said, needed a toozy.
A wee toozy.
I needed
Toozy
a
of a toozy.
And I didn't want to go to those toilets.
Aye, fuck them.
Because
Back to the tree.
they're manky, right? But I couldn't go to the tree because I had no toilet roll. So, and everyone was asleep at this point. It was like, say 5 in the morning. So I didn't want to go, I don't got in the toilet roll I can use. So I just went, if I just lie here and don't move, I'll be fine. And
That's never a good idea.
it wasn't a good idea, right? But at the same time, there was no other option apart from going to manky, shitty toilets, right? So I was like, no, I can't do this. So I was like, sorry, I'm going to Tesco in the morning. If I can just hold on to then, I'll be fine. Now, if this was just a normal shite, I would probably been okay, but this was a bucky and ecky shite.
Aye,
right?
they're a different behemoth.
This is a volatile one waiting for a... So,
Anybody that's had Buckfast.
Aye. Oh no, they will know, especially 3 bottles, you know. Maybe if it was one bottle, it would have been
be
okay.
compacted.
So I was like, I can hold on. So I was like to my girlfriend, I need to, right, as soon as this first bus is ready to go, I need to go. And she went, aye, but probably won't sell booze straight away. I was like, I don't care.
That's not the point.
That's not, right, we'll go for breakfast or something, but I need to go to this place. Now, I can't remember what time we got the bus at, but I'll just say it wasn't a smooth bus. There was a lot of potholes and things like that. So I was bouncing along the ground. It was like
a lot of unclenching thing.
I know. I was like, this isn't good for the old thing. But like you, I did persevere and I did win in the end. But there was times in that bus.
It's
like,
a will battle, man.
It's like this bouncing about. It's taunting me, you know. And then, so to cut a long story short. We got our booze, went back. Now, this is my issue with Leeds and Tesco in general. Tesco does not sell the tonic wine, so I did not.
No love for the monks.
No, so I had to get beer, and because we were in England, it was all shitty beer like Miller and that's not English, but Carlin is what I meant. And things like that. But this is when Carlin sponsored the Leeds Music Festival, Leeds and Reading,
right?
And they were doing a thing that year. As if you took them any beer, they would
swap it for a Carlin?
For cold Carlin.
Oh, right. So I think I remember them doing that at Teen the Park with Tenants, of course, as well. But
Tenants on it.
Tenants.
It's no good because Tenants and Carlin are fucking terrible. But Wee Ross, he's a thinker. He went to like fucking Quick Save or something
and got like the cheapest shit
beer, like got like 24 cans for like 3 pence or something like that, and just went, well, I've got 24, use it.
Did they do it? Did they?
That was the rules. Any unopened beer, they would swap it for a cold Carlin. And as shite as Carlin is, cold Carlin is better than like warm Quick Save beer or whatever the fuck it was, you know.
Exactly. So, plus you're getting one up in the man.
Fuck you, Jimmy Carlin. Eh? So I just want to touch on another tale of ecstasy overindulgence, and this time it's not on me. But
really?
Well, kinda is, but not really.
It's no me.
And I'll just say I did get toilet roll when I was at Tesco, just in case that arose again, but it didn't. I was managed to, because I wasn't drinking bucky, I was fine for the rest of the weekend and not relating.
Who'd have thought?
But so I went back. Everybody was up at that time, so like started drinking again. But Wee Ross came up to me. It was like, say about 11. Wee Ross came up to me and went, cap down our own at 3, right? I was like, right, cap down our band with both lights. I was like, cool. And they went, when you get ready for it? And I was like, well, it's like 4 hours away. We've got plenty of time. Aye, but here, they give me like 3 Eckies, some cold beer. So we're just like, cool. So we started drinking. Now, this is when John Allen turned up. Turned out John Allen had been up all night and didn't go back to his tent, right? So he was fucked. We don't know where he went. We asked him. He didn't know where he went either, so that's fine. But there was all of like a big group of us all together, probably about 30 that all knew each other. We'd set up camp, and there was this couple who Chairman decided to set up beside us, which is fine. We're talking away.
Yeah.
So the guy got his tent up. John Allen comes staggering round, goes, oh, Ross, give a beer, and then just falls right into the guy's tent. They just put up, and he's like rolling about in it, trying to get back up like a turtle in his back. Like, and I'm just looking at the guy who's like raging. I was like, right, okay, I'll help him up here. So I got him up. So the guy went, oh, for fuck's sake, so I went away, put the tent up again. I swear to God, as he put the tent up again, he hadn't even finished putting like the pole back in. Aye. John Allen fell into the tent again, and he was like, but he didn't land on his back this time. He just sort of fell like face first and then he was facing me, so I could see his face. He's like, "Fuck, what have I done? This guy's got to be raging." So his plan was to crawl backwards out of the tent and round a corner, hoping that the guy just didn't notice. And the guy was fucking bailing, just picked up his tent and moved away. I was like, he's not happy, John, just go away, just keep going, crawling backwards, you'll be fine. So again, John Allen had taken a lot of ecstasy. Didn't he do this, boys and girls? Learn from our mistakes.
This is a chronicling of why you shouldn't. If
you want to take bucky, fine, right? We're alright with that. Just three bottles isn't a good idea though. That's
3 bottles in ATB. What a good
3 bottles in a bag of MDMA, you're fucking sorted.
Yeah.
There was no junkies in that bus to Leeds, so that's the
downside. No good junkie story for it.
I can't think of any junkie stories. I'm sure it's not a junkie, but it was in public transport. I met an African man
Right.
on the way home for band practice one day. I was on the subway, so it must be when I lived in Kinnan Park, so I don't get the subway, but I had my bass. This young, joyous African man sat down in front of me. He was like, "Do you play guitar?" He's like, "It's no guitar." And I went, "What is it then?" I went, "A bass." He's like, "Play it for me." And I was like, "Well,
I'm going home.
I can, but you won't hear
You
it.
won't really
It's
hear
an
it as a
electric
bass,
bass. It's no like an acoustic one, you know." And he's like, "No, just play it." And then he just started singing like a song about how he was on the subway, which is kind of weird. It's like, "What you doing, man?" But I was like, "No, what? This is better than some junkie asking for money." Yeah,
I've had that. I used to I stayed in East Kilbride for about 9 months or something like that.
My
And I had to,
condolences.
sorry?
My condolences.
I know, right? I used to have to get the bus into like town and civilization. Fuck me, man. The amount of junkies on those buses. Just that think it's alright to just strike up a conversation. You're like, man, I've got like no earphones, head fucking phones right over my ears. Why do you think I want to talk to you?
The worst, man. Like, it's not on transport, but it relates to transport, I suppose. But me and the aforementioned Lev, for Barhead in the last episode, we were walking through town. We got the usual fucking pish. Like, Lev is straight edge. He's always like never drank, done drugs or anything like that. He wouldn't approve of our icky ways. But this guy came up to us and went, "Oh, my wife's just had a baby. I need like a £5 to get to the hospital, blah blah blah." And we went, "Oh, I've no money on me, but I have got this all day ticket that I'm not going to use anymore. So if you need the all day ticket to get to the hospital, here you go, fire away." And went, "Oh no, I need the money, man." But I have given money to alkies and junkies. See if they're honest with me. See if they come up to me and, "Can you give us £1 for like a can of beer or something?" I'll give them it, because you're not giving me some bollocks. You've been up front. I'm going to buy booze. Cool.
Sound fine.
Here's £1, mate. Go on.
You don't get.
Aye, go
I
on.
did it last night walking back to Central. Like, I just
was
said
me,
bye
though.
to you. Oh, that was you actually. It was you needing that bus for a job interview. No, I just said bye to you. Then I was walking up to Central, and a guy just like tapped me in the shoulder and he was like, "Here mate, can I have £1?" And I was just like, "Aye, I even need a reason." Like, sure, I've got £1 loose in my pocket. That's yours now.
As long as you don't talk shit, I'll give you £1.
Don't give me. Don't give me shit or like try and guilt me into it or anything like that. Just be honest.
Can I just say to anyone listening to this, if you see me in tune, that doesn't mean if you come up and ask for a tenner, I'm going to be it, right? "Get up, it's £1, mate." It's like, "Aye, cool."
I don't want
You were honest about it. I didn't even give you an excuse. "Aye, but it's fine."
But you said.
You said, but
You said on that podcast that one time that you were trying to be funny.
I can't think anything particularly in public transport. I've seen a few fucking
Shambles.
Do you know a guy? He's a legend around Glasgow called the Electric Scarecrow.
I think I've heard the name, but I don't. I mean, he's a backstory.
No, non-Glaswegians or people who don't know what we're talking about. The Electric Scarecrow was a man who, he was there physically, but I think his mind was in a party in the 70s at some point. Yeah, in the Dunts. This was a man. He had like braids. He wore like wacky, blonde braids, wacky paint in his face.
Right.
He always wore like a high vis vest, and sometimes he'd wear a dress or like traditional Pakistani wear. You know, like the trousers with the sort of.
Yeah.
I don't want to say a dress because that's not what it is, but you know what I mean, like something a male Pakistani man would wear. So you just wander about dancing everywhere because, as I said, don't do drugs, and but
Just perpetually coming home for a rave.
aye, my mate Stuart was on a bus one day and he texted me and he was like, "I'm on a bus." It might be when I was living. I was like, "I'm on a bus. Tell Fiona I'm going to be late home because the bus has crashed." And I was like, "Fuck, you alright, man? Like,
Aye,
are you okay?" He's like, "Aye, no, I wasn't going fast. What had happened was the bus driver saw this guy dancing down the street and turned and looked at
away.
him. But the bus like was stopped at a red light, but he just, as he turned around, the bus rolled forward, just hit the back of another bus at like 3 mile an hour or something, nothing pure
at all, yeah.
no fast." And he's like, "But he won't let us off the bus because it's like an accident and he needs like witnesses and that, and it's like I can't believe I'm stuck in a bus because the bus driver got distracted by this guy dancing.
I thought it was gonna be like another like fucking Ali story. Like,
No.
he just this guy just sauntered right in front of us.
Just a guy got distracted, and transport's not a funny thing, man. It's pish. Buses smell like pish.
Buses are pish, man.
Trains
Buses.
just didn't go for no reason.
Trains, but when you're on them, they're alright. Trains are
No.
much better than buses are.
No.
What? Yeah, buses are better.
No.
Wait,
I think they're both shite.
they're both shite, but like, I'd rather get in a train than a bus.
They're unreliable trains.
Aye, but once you're on them, at least you're not going to get approached by a junkie bastard.
But I don't get approached by drunken bastards and buses either.
You don't go in the right buses.
Good. That's the way I want it to be. I go for fucking hipster Strathbungo to town. That's me, and like the hipsters chased out all the junkies in Strathbungo ages ago.
Rum shack.
Rum Shack, baby Rum Shack. That fucking pub, man. That used to be the worst pub. I used to live above it.
Aye.
And before it was the Rum Shack, it was called Strathy's years ago.
Aye.
And every Friday night they would have like pure arseholes having a party because it was like free function hire.
I was about to say like the only reason I knew about Strathy's was like all these people in my school like holding fundraisers and like wee nights out there, like
Aye.
specifically that place. It's like it's fucking shite.
It was the worst. My favourite memory of it is when I lived above it, I had a cat that liked exploring outside, so I'd just take it down, let it wander about the back. It was a big fat cat. When they run away or anything, when they get away, if I could catch it. Haribo, his name was. And it was the night that Rangers were playing a Champions League game or something like that. It was a good We Are the People, God Save the Queen pub back then. I don't know if the Rum Shack's into the Rangers, probably no, but
We'll have to investigate.
but it was hilarious because I was down with the cat was wandering about, and then some fucking fat arsehole went, "Oh, imagine what'd happen if I took my dog up there." I was like, "Aye, cool, whatever."
Well in there, well in.
Aye, there's some good patter. But they had like a telly at the back. It wouldn't have been the Champions League because that's normally before Christmas, so you don't sit out there in the snow watching the football. So it must have been something else. But I was like, "Aye, very good, mate, fuck up." And then because it was distance,
Aye, there was no threat.
Aye. And I could run and hide in my house. He didn't know what one I lived in, so it was
You've got
fine.
locks.
So and then like obviously the good patter, the good loyalist patter came out here. I was like,
Excellent.
hello, we are the for fuck's sake. And I was like, look, I went on with what happened, and the other team scored that time. I was like, yeah, sectarian bastard. But aye, every Friday night, just arseholes in there hiring at the place, going, fucking noise constantly. And I used to work Saturday mornings, like early, when I worked in Subway, and I just couldn't get to sleep because all these arseholes shouting. And then one night, one of them got knocked over because I heard this pure clear as
Front
day.
row seat statement.
Aye. Excuse me. I just heard like screeching. And then, I go and look at the window. There's this a car with a panda windshield, just
Fuck,
a lassie lying in the road. And I was like, good. But then the ambulance siren started, so I wasn't getting any sleep either.
Nah, man.
And it's like, don't walk on the road if you're drunk, man. Just stay away.
Stay away from the road. It's not that they tell you all about road safety when you were young.
I'm surprised. Sorry, I just thought of another story.
What was that?
This was before I was a junkie on the Eckies, but it was still funny.
Go for it.
This was one of the famous times where I was like, we were both underage, but we went to Rufus, me and Jameson. Now, this is why I don't get annoyed about underage people going into Rufus, because I was one of them once upon a time, so it'd be
It's a
hypocritical.
rite of passage.
It would have been hypocritical of me to say it, but when you know the bar staff, you can kind of get away with it. Mm-hmm. Me and Jameson went in for our famous, we'll go in for 1 pint at 4 o'clock, right? Next thing you know, our pals, or people we knew, just so happened to be going in that day as well.
Aye.
So we just had a big table. Jameson was
Aye,
sitting rolling joints, as he does.
Just in Rufus.
And Rufus would go outside, smoke and go back in. Things were grand. And then it was like, right, it's closing time, everybody out. It was like, fuck, so we were absolutely hammered because we'd been in there
Since
before
like
4 o'clock
aye.
to closing. And we were walking down the street, and Hope Street, Union Street, across the road for the cat house. We were trying to get from the cat house side to the bus stop side. So I was like, right, looking about, trying to figure out when to run. So I started running as a bus pulled into a bus stop, so I just ran straight into the side of the bus. I was like staggering back. I was like, I can't fall here because I'll get run over. But that was funny, right? Because I can laugh at myself, as I said last episode. I was like, ha ha ha, what a dick. And then like something happened. We were waiting on the 75 back to Jameson's, and a guy got off the bus. And as he was getting off the bus, he turned round and went, you fucking dickheads, or something, right? So he gets off the bus. I'm assuming the people who's calling fucking dickheads got off the bus, kicked the fuck out of him, right? So he's just lying on the floor. Me and Jameson are cowards, like, we're no helping them, we'll just wait for them to go away, then try and help them. There was it turned into Shahid's town. I can't remember what it was before that.
Yeah,
but
that I know
food
the
place.
bit you mean, yeah. Just
So the guy's lying on the floor, they finally, they completely cunt kicked inside out, right?
Aye.
So he's just lying there bleeding. And me and Jameson were like, fuck. And then, like, people who weren't steaming came over, like, try and help him.
Aye.
But a guy came out of the place that became Shahid's,
aye.
looked at the guy on the floor, went over and just got a couple of kicks in.
For fuck's sake! Like, oh well, I mean, nothing's going to stop me.
Yeah, he's like, he's already done in, might as well get a couple of kicks.
For fuck's
Me and Jameson just burst out laughing because, like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah,
It's
who
like,
fucking does that?
Who does that? And everyone's like, that's not funny. It's like, we're not laughing that the guy got another doing. It's just the fucking
situation.
the gall of the guy going, no, what? He needs another couple of kicks in the face. You know, he seems too coherent just now. I'll just get. So, sorry, Pete, nothing about junkies and transport, but there was a few transport related stories there, and I'm sure there's probably more.
Shush! The most beautiful song ever written. This song's a musical voyage. It goes like this. Jameson!
We actually got quite a lot more feedback than we have done historically. Not only did we have more questions from Peter.
At Peter Watson, be sure to give him a follow.
We should probably make that count for him at this point.
I'd be very surprised if it was available.
We'll hazard a guess at Peter Watson 11248.
I will only remember that.
I don't remember that, but we got another question on Twitter from an actual Twitter user.
Right, I appreciate the feedback and a question for someone else. Just full disclosure, it's his flatmate.
It is. We've cheated the system.
We're not bigging up our fucking.
We're not
diverse
we've not
fans.
got randomers just getting in touch with us going. Asking questions.
See if you are listening, you do have a Twitter and you do what you follow us. It's at TurboDunters, as we said at the beginning. If you have any questions, just fire away.
We will ask it.
We will ask. Well, if Derek remembers, we'll ask it, because I remember at the time being so happy that we got a question when it came in, then I forgot about it.
Until I just said it.
But luckily Derek wrote it down because it wouldn't have got asked.
I wrote it down on the Twitters, and that is we got a comment from Tash here saying, my manager once played all of the Stereophonics albums on repeat in work one day, and I wanted to kill myself. If you could think of a completely legal but despicable way to torture someone, how would you do it?
I'd make them listen to this podcast.
Hey, that's true. That's point, man. That's right.
I would give them 3 bottles of bucket, a bag of Eckies, and then buy
toilet paper.
all the toilet roll in the world.
All of it.
Oh yeah.
The kitchen roll as well, in case they try and get through that. Although that doesn't flush as well.
And I would piss all over the toilet seat as well, because then they'd have nothing to wipe it.
Block up the toilet door with bin bags.
There's plenty of bin bags in my clothes. So
Exactly.
Right. So
how would you torture someone in a completely legal way? Like, would you try and chip away at their sanity without them really thinking, like, a really passive aggressive way?
See, I've done that. What? I had I'll full disclosure again. I have a bad memory, right?
Aye.
But I'd actually the lassie I lived with when I lived in Pollockshaw's Road above Strathy's. I think I actually convinced her that I was mental at one point.
Oh, really?
Because I would just make up these wee stories, right? Just stupid wee stories about how it was so fucking stupid. It was like, me and my pal, homeless Jimmy, his name was.
Oh, right.
We got called up to fight in World War Two, but we fucked it and turned up at the Vietnam War instead. Just complete fucking gibberish, right? But she was so convinced that because I forget everything, but because I was keeping track of these stupid stories in my head, she convinced myself that I'd actually believe this. And one night she just started like hysterically crying, going, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Why are you like this?" And to be fair to her, this isn't the first time that somebody said that.
My mom did when I was 4.
Right. Well, 3 actually, because it's when I asked for the Ghostbusters firehouse. I said, "What's wrong? Is that a brother or a sister, you wee cunt? No, fucking idiot! Can't even tell the difference." So I suppose that does count. I suppose accidentally, just by talking shit, because all the characters were called Jimmy, right? Don't get me wrong, because it was easier to keep. There was homeless Jimmy, Jimmy the Hat, and Jimmy the Wallet Thief. Because I knew if I
don't know why Jimmy the Wallet Thief just got me in particular.
because Jimmy the Hat and Jimmy the Wallet Thief were twins, right?
Oh, aye.
So that was a perfect crimes because and it's just complete shite, and I can see why she thought it was.
Probably, aye.
Because she'd go, "Stephen, do you want to take the rubbish out or something like that?" And I would just leave it in the close because I'd forget to take it. No.
You fucking skunk.
She was like, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "Ah, cool." And then I'd forget. Like, just stupid things like go to the shop, get milk. Aye, no bother, I'll do that. Did you get milk? No. But I did remember Jimmy the Wallet Thief and Jimmy the Hat had done this thing, right? So...
Distinct clarity.
I just think, just like, and it was one night we were just having dinner and just like rattling off all this like 3 weeks worth of storylines, like I was some sort of fucking shitty EastEnders omnibus or something like that. It's like blah 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 blah, and she just fucking lost it. And I was like, maybe I should cut back on the shite.
Maybe a wee
because
bit.
like nobody's benefiting for this complete fucking bollocks.
It's a detriment. Like you've just totally damaged some woman's brain.
Right, and I'm trying to remember pish that doesn't need to be remembered.
Aye.
So
That's just a
that
waste.
could have turned illegal though, because she could have just lost it one day, walked out in front of traffic or something, and it would have been all my fault.
Exactly. That's
You know,
a minimum of sectioning.
so I've not got the memory to repeat that anyway. So so
See, I think that's the problem with me as well. I don't remember a lot of things. So I'm trying to think of what's some way you could torture somebody legally, despicably as well. Like that's the criteria here.
putting bins in the close is really that's pushing me.
It's despicable as well
pushing me
because it's
there.
fucking filthy. Aye, that's the best way. This is happening to you. You're being legally tortured.
tortured by an arsehole that
By an
you
arsehole,
kinda
doesn't
know.
Oh Jesus.
There's got to be some good ways though.
I'm trying to think. I'm such a nice person usually. I can't think of ways to torture folk, but
I'm always trying to get Kelly to go to the park with me and let stand a set of goals and let me kick footballs at her. She's no in it.
I wonder why.
To be fair though, I was never good at football, so there's a good chance I wouldn't even hit her.
Yeah, I probably
you
wouldn't.
know?
Aye.
The ponds at Queen's Park are kind of manky. And one day me and Kelly were walking through the park and a Dalmatian fell into the pond, and it was hilarious because like the woman like kind of panicked. I was like, "Fuck, I'm going to need to help her pull her," but the dog managed to pull it out.
Aye.
And we both laughed, went, "Ha ha ha, the dog's so daft," and she went, "Yeah, ha, ha." It's because it wasn't deed, so we could laugh about it.
Aye.
But those ponds are fucking manky.
Aye. What colour did it come out?
The spots came right off it.
Bun bath with the chemicals.
Did you see the video of the guy jumping in the pond last summer?
No, what Queen's Park? Pond?
Queen's Park Pond. It was one of those days. It was fucking
Was it
sweltering.
boiling? Aye.
And this guy just like ran
for a dip.
ran through
With
the
his spoons.
thing, ripped off his clothes and jumped into the fucking pond.
Dunts.
And everyone's like, someone put it in Facebook, like there's this
legend.
there's the Shawlands and Strathbungo area Facebook page, like and then everyone just underneath it is like, "Mate, go to the hospital."
Aye, you're gonna die.
You're going to die. This was not a good idea.
Get tetanus and rabies. In one go.
And Dalmatian spots.
Dalmatian.
Don't know how that happened.
comfy.
Let's see your legal ways, because you can't even do that to someone because it could die.
Yeah.
It's like, haha, threw you in the pond, you can come out now. Oh shit.
Stop floating.
It's not even that deep, but
I'll still take you then.
so I'll take it in.
Which I think are like some ways that you can annoy folk and then just really amp that up. See if you just like corrected, you know, it's really annoying when people correct you for like your
When you say
punctuation.
a word
Aye,
intentionally wrong.
Aye. So we do that, but for like correct words. It's like, oh, I saw a shark the other day. Do you mean a shirk? I think you mean a shirt.
That's a Canadian, isn't it?
Get many sharks in Canada.
I mean,
It's in that.
when San Jose play there, eh?
Hey, wee hockey joke for
A
you,
hockey
sir.
joke for none of yous.
We've not actually like really discussed that at all. Like, we're quite into hockey,
Aye,
just so
but
you're aware.
I do a separate hockey podcast. I didn't bring it into
Sure,
this one
aye,
as
just
well.
because we mention it every now and then.
It's like, I try and keep them separate. For example, when I'm recording that podcast, I don't start
You don't
talking
talk
shit
about
about
shites?
eckies and things like that. Junkies on buses.
That's obviously what gets the listeners, man.
Sadly, the other podcast does get a lot more than listeners than we do.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't trust it.
After one day of our last podcast, and I'm no bragging here, I'm just trying to put this in perspective. Our third episode, I think, has about 30 listeners, right? One day after our last podcast, it's called Purple Army Podcast, in case any of these are Braehead
plug-in
fans
bastard.
and want to listen. One day after that, it already over 900 listeners. So it's doing a bit better on this one, but
Aye.
they will come, you know.
The day will come.
Our first podcast for when we done the Purple Army podcast, I think got 600 listeners. But to be fair, there was already at least say 3,500 fans to
You market to.
advertise to.
There's not really many people that are really into shites and eckies.
It smells. If you do see somebody wandering down the street going, I love eckies, I love shites, just
Punt my wee
Aye,
a wee URL. Write it in their arm with a compass.
turbo punters. That's what we call them. No. Right, back to the question. I want to get a good answer for this one.
Aye.
I'm trying to think who the most fucking annoying person I can think of is. And I can see a cookbook over there by one Jamie Oliver. He's an annoying cunt, man.
Oh, he's a Sainsbury's punter, isn't he?
He's a Sainsbury's punter. I can't remember if we spoke about this in the last episode, but one time I was watching his Christmas special because my stepdad's into like cooking and that. He watches all the cooking shows, all of them at once, and it was Jamie Oliver, and he was going back to his mum and dad's house like, all right mate, I'm going to show you how to cook Christmas dinner, right? And then and it's pure fucking idiotic.
That's better than your Doc Brown.
Fuck, I forgot. This is an impression free podcast. It's like, I've got to go and cook my mum and dad dinner, Christmas dinner, right? And then it turns up with this house, this big fucking estate in the countryside, and his mum and dad are sitting there going, hello Jamie, how nice to see you, and pure posh as
Fuck's
fuck,
sake,
Tory
man.
cunts, and he's like, alright, and then you get a turkey, and then you put pepper on it, and you go, pucker mate, pucker.
right up the arsehole. Get the sage in there.
Get a full onion right up there. Get a plunger in, just push it in as far as you can. And it's like, mate, the rest of your family's fucking middle class. Where the fuck is this accent coming from? You know, it's like he's pretty annoying. So I think having to sit in a room with Jamie Oliver, listening to his fucking rank patter, or Ainsley Harriott.
And he's not allowed to cook. He's only allowed to talk about cooking. So it's like you don't even get a meal.
You don't even get a meal. He's only allowed to talk about how shit hot Sainsbury's is and Cockney.
How shit hot Sainsbury's is and Cockney.
Cockneys.
Cockneys.
Aye.
Alright.
It's got a big dick. It swings when he's knees.
Hey! That jokes.
I can torture you by going through my dick joke repertoire. How about that?
We'll be just subjecting somebody that doesn't like puns to hunters and hunters of puns.
I don't know that many, but Terry in work does do that. I'll name drop him because he knows.
He knows.
I've threatened him with violence a lot of times. If he's into them.
Aye, that's boy Terry. It sends us quite a lot of puns. I like them. I'm a fan of a good pun. But you don't, man.
No.
I've seen the vitriol that spews through your mouth whenever you see a
Because they're
pun.
all so forced and shit.
It's
Punk, no puns, mate. That's what I'm of it. Aye, but it's like,
Can I have punk with puns?
but some of them aren't even puns. It's just like words that kind of fit, but don't. You know, it's like, what's a good pun? I can't think of a good pun. Like, Look up puns.com.
Look up puns.com. What do you call a thieving alligator?
I don't know.
A crocodile. Even though they're two distinctly different. And what kind of shorts do clouds wear?
I didn't ken.
Thunderwear.
See, that is... No. But I'm just disheartened. But Terry will do ones, he'll try and do Zelda ones, but they just...
That's forced.
It's forced, yeah.
I'm still in it. I'm in the effort.
Zelda puns are Triforced, mate. Oh, wee Zelda pun for you there. But aye, we'll always go for them. They're so forced. They don't really work. And like, we've not actually answered the question. We've just came up with some things that annoy you.
Aye. See, if you do all those things at once, Jamie Oliver
Doing
telling puns, no cooking.
Well, bin bags are in the close.
Aye. That'll kill you.
I mean, I suppose.
I mean, it's it's a subjective question. I think there's quite a lot of answers that could be there, but that one is absolutely the best.
I don't think it would kill me. I mean, like, if it happened once,
Or
I
this
know
is-
I'm quite on edge about the bin bags, right? But like, Jamie Oliver just showing up for 2 minutes, hasn't he got to like,
Try 2 year.
Oh, fuck.
Stuck in a room with Jamie Oliver. Puns, eh?
I don't even really have any loved ones who'd come looking for me.
I'd come looking for you.
We've not done a podcast for 2 years, where is it? I've only just noticed it. We've got 33 listeners to episode 3 now. He needs to know. He needs to know.
Where is it?
Where is it? The junkie won't even give me bus money or rent.
I was honest with him, man.
No, I want a proper answer. A proper answer.
Proper answer. Will we get her through? She got.
Tash, we've got an answer for you. You don't need to listen now, so we're doing another listener this week. The growth is stunted. I'm trying to think what the worst thing ever is.
The worst thing ever.
Jamie Oliver is up there, don't get me wrong.
Let's just start naming bad things.
But Stereophonics, Tash covered with the question. Trivium.
Bin bags.
Is this just testing our knowledge of previous episodes? Jameson. Pete's no lack of Twitter. TurboDunters, they're pretty bad.
They're pretty bad. The triple dunt is a bad thing to do.
Speed.
Aye, bad speed.
Well, to be fair,
No having toilet paper.
having the runs with no toilet paper.
Trying to be polite. No.
No, what, you mean like the act of trying to be polite?
Aye, I was trying to be polite and nearly shat myself, man.
Oh, right, I thought you meant me not being polite, which is... It does hurt me trying to be
It hurts me when you're not being polite.
Like what?
I don't know, I'm only joking you.
When I say that you're like one of the three.
One of the three.
Oh, that would sap me. That, see if I...
Right,
just
so
had to
we'll
listen to
explain.
it.
So the three.
The three said girlfriend that caused a mental breakdown of she's ex-girlfriend, I should say. Kelly's not told me whether I've caused it with her yet.
It might have happened. It's just not become apparent yet.
Aye. So she liked 3 bands in particular, and to the point that they just played. And there's a common thread here. Jameson's her ex-wife was the same with one of these bands as well. I know it's not brand new.
Yeah.
The 3 bands in question are Jimmy Eat World, who aren't overly offensive. Like if I just heard them every now and then, I'd go, right, it's not for me, but cool.
Aye.
Brand New, who are worse than Jimmy Eat World, but I probably wouldn't hate them as much as if this lassie wasn't in my life at one point. And Alkaline Trio, who are got to be one of the worst bands who ever existed.
I was never into them.
They're just... Matt Skiba's just so monotone and boring, and all their songs sound the fucking same. And it's... Because me and Jameson were laughing, like... Because her ex-wife and my ex were so excited because our new album was coming out. It was our first album in a couple of years or some shite. And the first single they released off it started with the line, "Here it goes again," and it's just like the last time. And me and Jameson were like... Aye, and the time before that, and the time before that, and so just fucking constantly, man. Just Jimmy Eat World, Brand New, Alkaline Trio. Just we were together for about 3 years. We lived together for about 2 years of that, and it was just fucking over and over and over, as Biffy Clyro would say, just fucking constant. And then when me and her split up, I went and moved in with Jameson for a wee bit, and she just kept with fucking her ex-wife just kept the Alkaline Trio, and it was just like I was in Groundhog Day. It's just like it wouldn't end, and that's why they are one of the three.
One of the three.
But I just. What's wrong with the Misfits, mate? Right, they're really good.
No,
they're really good, mate.
mate.
They're good.
Nah,
They're good boys.
No one else. Brand new hair, are good.
No, fuck off. I will just say, right, that shout out to my wee brother Kyle and my sister Ailey, who don't listen to this, but I just want to
Well into
them. They like the Misfits more than me. Not as much as I did at the time that MySpace days, but now, because they are currently, who was it played first? You had Michael Graves playing a couple of months ago, who was a singer in the 90s who replaced Danzig. He played
good old Danzig.
Good old Glenn. So I went to see them a couple of months ago. Doyle, the guitarist, the second guitarist in the Misfits, and Jerry O'Neill, the Misfits' brother, played the other week at the Cat House, and I went to see him as well. And Danzig is playing at the end of the year, so it seems just now that they'll never see the Misfits together, but to rectify that, they're going to see all the parts separately. Aye. And this reminds me of the story that my sister told me, because I found it quite funny. So Doyle, guitarist of Misfits, he was playing the other week, and some cunt I think the band's just called Doyle.
Right. It's like Slash. Except nobody cares.
Slash would play the Cat House as well, I think, if he'd done his own solo tour.
Aye, no doubt.
To be fair, his stage name is Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein. That's just too fucking long.
That is pretty long, aye.
So Doyle was playing no Misfits songs, so they were raging because they didn't know any songs. I don't know why he didn't listen to any of his new band songs before going, but
yeah, considering it was his new band playing.
Aye. So the other guitarist, so my sister says it might have been the bassist, I don't know, but there was another cunt on stage with some form of guitar, and they had a jug of water and a jug of Jägermeister. Now that's pretty fucking hardcore, right? Because Jägermeister's meant to be a shot, but
aye,
cool.
If you're dealing in jugs, that's like, do you know the way the bottles are, like the most standard bottle, it probably wouldn't even fill a jug.
True.
You probably have to get more than one bottle.
And he was so hardcore, I don't even think he had a straw in it. So apparently his gig's going well. He's like downing some of the Jaeger, water over the heat, because it's warm in stage. We've been in bands. It gets warm in stage. So that's I can understand that. You don't want to cool down, just a wee jug of water over the heat. But he got so steaming that he started tanning the water and pouring the Jägermeister over his head to cool down. And I'm just thinking, mate, you must have been sticky.
Aye, that shit would like firm up and be a wee crust almost on you.
I wonder, like, at the end of the night, because obviously they had to clean the place, the gig, I wonder if they just rolled him along the flare.
Just a big massive human lint roller.
Just held him over a bin, shook him off. You know,
bottle caps and Johnny's stuck all over him.
Why Johnny's?
I don't know, it's the Cat House, man, it's manky.
It was a gig.
It's the Cat House, man, it's manky.
I was going go to the Doyle night, do you like the band? No, but I've been promised my hole. So.
There's a radiator I need to break.
So I've got one last story that I want to share with us, because we're talking about the Cat House and how manky it is, and just because
they're not going to let us do a podcast then. That's anti-Cat House propaganda.
Were we asking for permission? I thought we were just going to show up the red thing.
Show the red thing. Mixed in your
we should get a picture of that at one time so people actually know what we're talking about.
Aye, the red thing is the thing that unites us. It's the thing that brings these two voices together. It's probably record on, right?
Yep.
Sorry, your last anti-Cat House story.
That's it. It's not even an anti-Cat House story. It's just we are the podcast that eckies and shite. According to you the day, I don't know where the shite bit came into, but this is a story.
That's Pete's fault, man.
True. Fuck's sake, Pete. But to bring it into a story in the Cat House and shite. One time I was at the Cat House for a gig. Wasn't getting my hole, but I was seeing a Swedish punk band called Millencolin. Sancho, my pal, and we won't give too much information about him, but he was there and he was one that pointed this out to me. Right. So Sancho is a big Millencolin fan. He's like, "Oh, go and see Millencolin, it'll be good." I was like, "Cool, get my ticket." Now, I was at the merch table. Remember, I've not been at a gig in the house for fucking ever, but they used to have the merch just outside where the smoking bit is.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at the t-shirts or whatever. I was like, alright, might get one. The toilets to the right of the smoking area, Sancho came running and went, "Come and see this is amazing." I was like, do I want to? Right, this seems like a trap. I'm not going to lie.
That's
See if it's your Bobby, I'm not going to be happy about this, right? But he's like, no. It's like, come see us. So I went in and someone had done the perfect shite, right? A shite that was very long, but they'd done it in such a way that it was standing up in the water.
like straight
up above the water line. I was like, Sancho, was that you? So, no, mate, if it was mine, I would have fucking told everyone, not just you. And I thought, this fits up with what I know of you, Sancho. This, and then I was like, what did I do with it? Did I flush it? Did I take a...
It's perfect, look at it.
This was before the days of camera phones, really. You would have cameras, but they'd be shit. And it, literally in this case, it'd just be a pixelated job. It looked like an early emoji or something like that. If Mario had done a shite in the first game, this is what it would have looked like. And then I was like, right, cool. There's only so much we can talk about this. You know, it's a shite in a toilet. It's no uncommon, apart from standing up. You know, like, so like, right, well, I'm here, might as well do a wee pissy boy. And so this is when I wore braces, as in the trouser keeper uppers.
Oh, right, okay.
No actual.
Not mouth braces.
Not mouth braces. So I was like, right, got to go for a wee pee here while I'm in the toilet. And Sancho, as I said, is a clatty bastard. So he waited for me to start pissing, and then just as I was starting, he pulled me back by the braces.
Fuck.
So I pissed all down my jeans. He was like, I got you. He was like, thanks, Sancho. And now think about it. See, if I won't say what his position is now. Derek does know the story of Sancho and what he's doing these days. And then let's just say we can bring them down. If they get too big for their britches, they're going down.
Too big for your britches.
Too big.
Fucking pull them away.
Pull them away.
Piss right in your career.